Hey guys, welcome back to ArtosisCasts. We are going into a second game here between Soma and Rain. I mentioned in the previous day's video that Rain and Soma played a few times on the ladder, and I wanted to kind of take a look at them. I'm really interested to see Soma's approach to dealing with Rain's kind of more newer style. I want to call it a more modern style because it is newer, but not a lot of people are following his lead on that so far from the Protoss vs. Zerg games that I watch. But that previous game was anything but the new style. Like, Rain really dismantled Soma with a combination of Zealot pressure and Corsairs. So kind of a more standard classical approach from Rain. And really unbelievably strong play because Soma it didn't feel like he had much of a chance at all. Like, it really did look like a mismatch, which is not something that I'm used to seeing, not something that I'm used to saying. They're just, I consider both these guys like top 5 of their race at pretty much all times. So anyways, we'll give Soma another chance here. see if he can show us a slightly better game against Rain. But anyways, Rain is going for a gateway expansion once again, and it actually is close spawns, very similar. In the last game, it was Radeon as well, with Rain in the top right and Soma in the top left. Same opening builds on both sides. So that Zealot pressure, we'll see if it can do as well as it did in the previous game. So while we kind of wait for, the Zealot pressure to start, the Zerglings to be made and all that, it's time to thank you guys again for watching ArtosisCasts. I really love reading the comments that you guys make this a part of your daily routine. Couldn't be happier about that. A little bit of daily StarCraft is really what life is made of. I got to tell you, like, the stuff that I watch for StarCraft just for pleasure, I'm so happy every week. Like, for instance, when KCM is on season and the video's popping out, I believe it's Thursdays my time, I'm just like, yeah. And I try not to watch it all at once. I try to eke it out over the course of the week. And it's a good feeling. It's a good feeling. I have my coffee, watch a bit of StarCraft as well, so I'm definitely with you guys in that boat. But yeah, thank you very much for making this a part of your day. And please do subscribe if you have not. Still really trying to build the channel, and I see a very bright future for StarCraft, a very bright future, and that's not just in Korea. I think that the non-Korean scene as well, we have a lot of growth that can occur. We're seeing, I've been saying it for years, but there is a return to quality that is going to be happening in esports. It's already happening. How many absolute garbage games are like, it's an esport? A lot of that stuff's disappearing, and we just have a lot of the really best games that are doing well right now, like Brood War. So anyways, enough talk of that. We have this little bit of pressure. This looks like exactly the same game that we saw last time, like a little bit different on the unit movement so far. Woo, I can't believe he saved that. That's crazy. That was the smoothest probe pull away. Oh my god, that was so close to death. Anyways, yeah, he throws down the forge, sits back defensively here, not as much damage to his gateway. Soma going to continue to try to pressure the two Zealots going across the map. This probe still left alive very nicely. A little bit of pressure going on. Oh, he's going to get that probe. Hey, very nicely executed here from Soma, doing some great pressure on the gate. Good micro from Rain. He's still going to send these two Zealots in. It's not like you can turn them around to go home and help. You kind of have to deal with this with what you've got. He's got probes coming down, and hopefully he'll be able to catch them on the ramp. Yes, just barely blocks the ramp. Doesn't let those lings in. Very important. And this is the perfect placement for the cannon because it will block the whole ramp if the Zerglings are kept alive. They won't be able to get in the main base if that, well, one slips up anyways, so well executed there. In the meantime, we have the two Zealots over here. The probe is still alive in the main base, checking everything out, and he saw that there is a layer on the way, so he's not really going to be afraid of 3-hatch Hydra or anything like that. That being said, Zergling speed on the way, as well as more Zerglings, so we could still have a counterattack coming up. That Ling gets lost by Soma while he tries to deal with these Zealots over here. A bunch of Lings coming over. Rain trying to wiggle out of here and micro as best he can. I don't think he's going to get anything. I love that run-in to where the Zealots were going to make sure there was a flank. And he does end up killing both of them at the same time there. Beautifully done. Beautifully done. Great cleanup here from Soma. Definitely feels to me like Soma is playing a better game here. than what we saw in the previous one. And there's actually a Hydralisk Den. Oh, that's interesting. He cancels the layer! And he's going to get the probe, isn't he? Because he has Zergling speed. So the probe, he actually just lets the probe die. Oh, man. This is quite the mind game, because this is kind of like a late, crappy Hydralisk Crush. And, you know, in 973, he's actually 9 plus 7 is 16 plus 3 is 19, and then you need 3 drones and gas. So, yeah, he was about 3 drones off there. He's going to get those drones out, I think. Oh, and it's the range rush. It's the range rush. Okay. This is a build that a year and a half ago, we started casting some on this channel. It was just kind of popping up about a year and a half ago. I remember it really, really clearly because it actually coincided with a tournament that I played in Thailand. I remember I talked about it actually a fair amount with Sayan, another caster of StarCraft there, and how it was kind of a fascinating new build. So right around that time. But anyways, you make 6 Hydras. I believe it's 6 exactly, and well, we see 6 from Soma, so yeah, that makes sense. You get the range upgrade, so that, oh, he's actually making even more. We'll see if he goes right into speed, but generally what you do is you use range to gun down the buildings, and then masslings flood in. And obviously the range will help you to hit the cannons more quickly as well. But you basically open up the surface area for the lings to do their job. Okay, he's going to walk forward, block with the lings so zealots can't hit his hydras, and gun down the cannons. Damn. The probes drill out really, really cleanly, but this cannon is not going to make it in, I think. Everything is just going to be blown up. Oh. That was a very, very quick GG. Wow. Well executed. That was a really super short game, so we'll just go right into the next one. Okay, so as we get into the third game here, third and final game between these two, I believe. I might have one more. We'll see. But it's going to be Rain going with a Forge on Polestar, sending out 2 probes at the same time pretty much to check, is this going to be a hatchery first play? And as he gets up here, sees this drone coming out, he's going to know immediately, okay, not a hatchery first. It's going to be a pool first build. So he'll probably just try to get his Nexus up pretty quickly. Looks like it is probably not going to be a very dangerous play here from Soma. I'd be surprised if he made a bunch of lings and tried to attack. But as his Overlord comes out and sees the Forge, I think you have to go cannon first there. We'll see from Rain. He actually has this stuff he has it measured out really, really well. Okay, he does afford the Nexus before the lings. So it looks like he should be able to get the cannon next, probably not make a single probe until he starts that cannon. You know, this is something that Rain really does more Nexus first than a lot of players. I talked about it kind of recently with Tasteless in an ASL day, so if you're watching that, you heard this recently, but like, it was Rain in KSL where he started doing things like 11 Nexus and had these timings where like he had the cannon up before Overpool and could get there and all these things, and it was like, it was very cool to see. You know, definitely one of these kind of leader guys for Zerg. Now, look at the placement here. This is to save the Forge. You kind of give up the gateway if a rush comes. You say, okay, you can kill that, but we're going to make sure that we finish that +1, which is just so incredibly important in this matchup. In the meantime, Soma with his 3 hatchery play. And, yeah, just kind of chasing that probe around. So, everything looking completely fine. Pretty normal overall. Pretty normal openings. Can't really say anything too much about them. We'll see. The layer should be starting here very shortly, or, you know, possibly a Hydralisk Den if he wants to try for like a 3-hatch Hydra play. You can't get into the main base again. You know, this little ramp with the 2 eggs, you can definitely block that with the lings if you put even the smallest amount of effort into that. But he starts the layer, so it looks like probably a pretty regular game coming up. Rain, you know, just circling with this probe, trying to see if he can find anything goofy going on. You know, are you actually making drones? Are you making lings? But Soma's doing a good job, right? He's making it so it's like, okay, you have to keep microing this because the ling is following it, and I'm watching where it is. And then the little group of 3 lings up here just keeps mirroring where it goes. So like if you try to get up, he'll surround it, and it'll get killed so fast. It's like 2 volleys from 4 lings kills a probe. So Got to be careful about that. Now, a Zealot comes up. This is going to allow the probe to try to sneak its way into the main base, and the Zealot just starts running. You don't want to really take this fight right now. The Zerglings will end up winning that pretty handedly. And he did have a drone on hold position here, so the probe having a hard time getting up at the moment. There is Zergling speed on the way. That layer's still coming. Did not get canceled this game. We did see that in the previous one. Oh! And the probe gets up. The probe gets up. It's going to see a spire. So very important to see. But look at this. Citadel. There's an Overlord in the main base. There is no Stargate. There is no Stargate. This, to me, looks extremely good for Soma. Okay? This is like kind of a cheesy, risky thing. Now, if this happened to be like, you know, Soma was trying pretty hard to block that probe. So there's a world in which this was a Hydra opener. And if you're completely skipping the Corsair with, you know, a Hydra opener, sometimes what can happen is you get into several gates and you actually start making a lot of Zealots and, you know, you make your cannons and everything. Yeah, sure. But you get those Zealot legs out as well as +1 and you become like a force and you can push back on the map really quickly. But the thing is here, there's lots of intel. Like, the Overlord was floating there for a long time, and a Stargate does get started. I wonder if he's going to make a second one. Because the probe is sitting here. Yeah, he does. So I feel like this is a little bit of a bait. He's saying, "Hey, I'm not making Corsairs. I'm going Speed Zealots. We're gonna mess you up with a lot of Speed Zealots. Oh, I hope you don't go mutas, LOL. You know, and." The funny thing is, that's why I was saying, like, well, it looks like Soma definitely has an advantage, because in theory, you need Corsairs, because the mutas just are too strong otherwise. And he's making a few mutas. He's making a few Scourge, but he actually got his Hydralisk Den. So, his Hydralisk Den here, he's actually switching into Hydras much more quickly, which should be a very good counter to 2 Stargate Corsair. And he's going to show mutas. So, Rain is going to double down on the Corsairs. Now, he didn't see Stargates, but the mutas are going to force, like, more cannons, maybe a Dark Archon, that type of thing. This is, like, really, really big mind games going on right now. Really big mind games. If I'm Rain right now, I'm like, haha, you've fallen into my trap of making Mutalisks. Ha 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 ha. And then there's going to be a million Hydras that walk down, and they're going to gun down, like, a Mutalisk-based defense at the front here, where it's like light on cannons here, but like you got cannon here. Look at this, 2 cannons in the main base. Templar Archives, okay, another gateway coming. Yeah, none of this looks good against the Hydralisks, which are going to be coming out. Overlord speed is on the way. Yeah, he's got a few mutas, but it's so muta-light. Only 3 Mutalisks. It's like he's just signaling muta, but he's not really doing it. Now look at this. The Zealots run past. He does turn the mutas around to go help. They're not going to find any damage anywhere. There's cannons everywhere. And now he sees Hydras being made. So now we need to see some additional cannons at the front, most likely. Now, 4 Corsairs coming out against very light Scourge muta. Obviously, the Corsairs can win that. Pulls back all the way to the cannon. Took a little bit of damage on the Zealots, but not end of the world. Lot of Hydras. Dude, he just doesn't really have enough cannons. Okay, he does start a couple, and he has Psystorm on the way. Is he going to have these cannons up in time to actually block the push? I think if he had insta-started them when he saw the 2 Hydras, he might have been okay. But this is this looks very, very bad. He's just going to die to this. Like, this is just hitting before he has those cannons ready. He really needed all 4 of those before this hit. And you can see how it's like, that one didn't even shoot. This one's trying to do everything on its own. Realistically, that's game. Okay, well. What a funny set of games between these two. Rain dominates game 1. Game 2 was like a tricky tech switch from Soma, and so was game 3. And Soma just dominates game 2 and 3. Huh. Well, it wasn't what I was looking for, but I hope it entertained you. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.